tuning in to the headliners. My name is Edward Mbeche, CEO and founder of Helen Technology. I don't know if the mic sounded a little bit far. I had to move the mic. But today I have a guest, an awesome guest. I know I always kind of almost like kind of use the word awesome guest, but yeah, this one is awesome. Her name is Sara Nay. She's chief operating officer, and I think we're gonna get into like a lot of good stories, so we get to know Sara. So maybe instead of me kind of butchering her introduction, I'm gonna let Sara kind of introduce herself. Sara, how are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. Welcome to the
Good.
headliners.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome,
So
awesome.
you want me to dive into a bit of my background or?
Yeah, let's do this. I know we spoke like a few weeks ago. How you been doing though? Good.
Good. Yeah,
Okay,
busy, but
okay,
all good
perfect.
stuff.
That's good. Busy is good, right?
Yes, as long as it's the good kind of busy.
I
There's a
know, I
difference.
know. That's awesome. Yeah, so let's do this. To dive in, let's go. Actually, let's just go way back. Like, where did Sara grow up? Where did Sara come from, right? And
Way
was,
back.
was Sara a cheerleader?
Definitely
Right?
not a cheerleader. That wasn't in my my world. But I'm originally from Kansas City, and so I'm one of four girls born and raised. Spent most of my life in Kansas City,
Mhm.
and then went off to college at Colorado State for my college career, and bounced around a bit after that. And now I'm currently in Boise, Idaho, these days.
Wow. Okay. I never been to Boise, Idaho. I don't. It's like way over there,
It
right?
is. It's way over here,
How how
but it's
how
a
is
great city.
Boise? How is
It's
Boise?
great.
You know?
It's great. We were in Denver. My family, I have two little girls and my husband, and we were in Denver before this, and we moved to Boise about a year ago and absolutely love it. It's a small city feel, and we're big outdoorsy people, so I have miles of trails out my back door that I access almost every day. So can't
Okay.
complain.
Okay. That's awesome. So let's maybe just kind of a little bit of story. Uh, I know a little bit about you, just to kind of maybe just kind of do an introduction to the listener.
Of
Let's talk
course.
about like what you do. If someone just met you, like a
Yeah.
quick, what do you call like a quick elevator pitch, and like, hey, Sara, nice meeting you. What do you do?
No, that's great.
Mhm.
So I work for a company called Duct Tape Marketing, and I have for the last 12 years. And essentially, in a nutshell, we help people do less, but do it brilliantly. And so we're a marketing agency is our traditional work, but we're very strategic based.
Mhm.
And so one of the problems with marketing today, I think, is people are just tactics, tactics, tactics. Like I need to be doing this because I've heard someone else is doing this. And so we
Yep.
help people refocus on what is important the most
Mhm.
and where can they can make the most impact versus just doing more and more and more. So in a
Okay.
nutshell, that's our business.
You said duct tape marketing, right?
Yes.
I know, just reading a little bit, you started as a director of community. What does director of community means?
Before that, I was an intern.
Oh,
So
okay.
I started officially as an intern about 12 years ago.
Mhm.
I had graduated college. I was a psychology major. I had done some traveling around South America and just wasn't 100% certain on what I wanted to do next. Started as an intern at Duct Tape Marketing, and just have obviously learned and grown a ton over the years. And so at first, I was honestly just learning. I was learning marketing. I was a
Okay.
psychology major learning marketing,
Yeah.
so I was getting up to speed on everything, and then I shifted more into the community development role, and that was more of how can we build community around the brand,
Mhm.
and then from there I've moved from leading our sales to I'm still doing that to now I'm in the operations role and I'm leading our team. So it's been a journey of starting at I would say almost step one 12 years ago, but then being part of a small company that has allowed me to grow drastically over the last 12 years to the point where I'm in the operations role that I'm in today.
Okay. Which is like it's always kind of not intriguing. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Uh, this is the problem with public school. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking for a word. I can't find the word. It's there, but just anyway. So I know is always interesting when I talk to someone like they've been with the company for so long, right? So in my head, I go to like either do you know the owner? Do they know the like what is the relationship there? Like how did you end up lasting this long in the same company? Is
It's
it
a
just the
good.
company? It's just the company, like it's just good. It's been good to you for all these years, or do you know the owner or something like that?
I know the owner well. He's my father.
Oh,
um, and so he started the business about 30 years ago. And so it's
yeah,
always been a part of my life. I mean, the business is what put me through
mhm,
college,
yeah,
essentially, in a way. And so it's always been a big part of my life. And that's absolutely, like, obviously one piece. It's a family business, and I love working with him. We
yeah,
work really well together.
yeah,
That's why I started as an intern, even because it was like, is this something we want to pursue? Is this make sense? And our personality types, like he's definitely more of the visionary side of things, which I have some visionary skill set, but I'm also an integrator. Like I get the stuff done.
yeah,
And so we work really well together in that sense. And so that's been obviously a big piece of me staying with the company for so long, but also I love what I do. I think the thing that I love the most is we're in marketing, I'm in operations, I'm in sales. I
mhm,
learn something every single day still
mhm.
after 12 years. And so that keeps it really interesting to me, is to continue to learn and evolve after all this time. It's not like I'm doing the same thing every
Yeah.
day for 12 years.
I would love to talk to your father because it's like you're making him proud, but also he knows the value of work, right? So you came from after college or whatever, you went through the internship. So you did not just come in there and be like, hey, this is my baby girl.
Yeah.
You're the vice president of this now.
Yeah.
Right? He knows like you went through the process to learn about the business. So it's like it's a really like a professional company instead of just handing titles to family members and stuff. Um,
Yeah, and I've learned incredible amounts from being in this situation and going through all the different roles. Like, again, like I said, I first had to learn marketing, and then I had to learn sales because I lead our sales,
mhm.
and then I had to learn operations because now I run our operations. And so I've learned, even though we're a marketing business, like I've learned marketing, sales, and operations over the last 12 years, and I've grown like from literally traveling South America backpacking, don't know what I want to do with my life,
Yeah.
to where I'm at today. And so I'm obviously
Which,
grateful for the opportunity.
which is perfect. We see what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's grooming someone for the ski, which is awesome. But I can
Yeah.
I can see him too. Probably like when you went to college and you're doing psychology, he's like, why don't you do business
Yeah.
management?
Yeah. What are you going to do with that psychology
Yeah,
major unless you're going to continue on with
yeah,
school?
yeah. Wow, that's awesome. So let's talk about what duct tape marketing does. So you help, in a way, I was thinking like you help company work smarter in my short way of kind of explaining. So when you so as a marketing, so it's like a marketing agency, right? Is it
Yes.
okay? Is it part also that has like because I always kind of confuse these two things, marketing and branding.
Yeah.
Can they be branding in the same company? Is it just a marketing, just focus? Can you maybe kind of go into just kind of explaining how that works?
Absolutely.
Mhm,
So, duct tape marketing, we have two sides of our business. So,
mhm,
we're your traditional marketing agency, which is one piece. We'd absolutely get into branding with that component. Our approach to marketing, we've developed a system over the years. It's always starting with strategy and then uncovering what your biggest priorities are from a marketing perspective and going to work on those. And so, part of that, strategic work, we might uncover that a company needs like a new logo or messaging or whatever that people would consider more typical branding. We incorporate all of that, so all of the marketing is essentially talking together.
mhm,
And so, in that side of our business, we work directly with small businesses in a range of different industries,
mhm,
and that's what we've been doing, since John started 30 years ago. And then also part of our business is we've defined the system so clearly, the systematic approach to marketing, that other marketing consultants and agency owners basically go through our certification program, and they're able to use our systems, processes, tools, resources to go out and work with their small businesses. And so it was our way for us to reach more people essentially with the systematic approach to marketing that we developed.
okay. You just say John. John is your father, right?
Yes, but I've Been practicing for 12 years to call him John in business settings.
Because I have a daughter too. I have a daughter, so I always think too in my mind, like when you say she called my name, and I'm like, I'm dad, not just So it's like it's funny. I'm like, this new people always want to use their father first, and now of course, so now you work with him, so you are work with a lot of other employee. Um, of course, you have to use his name, right? Instead of just kind of calling him random. You in the meeting, dad, right?
Yeah, I mean, I literally have said John probably more over the last 12 years than dad because we talk all the time during work days.
Yeah,
So yeah, it comes off
that's so
easy
that's
now.
so awesome. That's so awesome. So when you're helping this small business, um, so because I'm trying to think, so even with the branding, not just the logo, or because I'm thinking you got to be able to create a brand strategy, right? And then the marketing take that message or whatever is created and just kind of spray. Um, are you more involved also in creating the strategy for the brand, or just are you creating just the marketing strategy, like to go to market? How does that work exactly?
Yeah. So what's included in our marketing strategy
Mhm.
is it's across honestly between different areas, I would say, of a business, but it starts with who are you targeting? Like what's your ideal client base? You got to understand them not just on a demographic level, but also on a pain point, delays in purchasing decisions. Like you got to know what makes them actually move forward and also where are they trying to go ultimately and how can you help them get there. And
Yeah.
so we do a lot of that work. We call it persona development. That's a common term these days. But you got to understand your target market. And then from there, you got to understand what messages resonate with that target market. So we call it your core messaging.
Mhm.
And so, how can you connect with people the second they come to your website with one line above the fold on the top of your website that pulls them in so they don't just jump off to one of your competitors' websites. And so it's personas, and then, okay, now we got to work on messaging to make sure it resonates.
Mhm.
Then from there, we help people map out their customer journey. We call it the marketing hourglass. And so this is where we get into some more sales and service type of things. Essentially, this is how can people get to know, like, trust, try, buy, repeat, and refer you
Mhm.
as a business. And so if you think about it, a lot of the know, like, trust is more in like the what people consider marketing.
Mhm.
When you're getting into how can people try and buy effectively from you, you're thinking about sales essentially. And then how can you get people to repeat and refer you? Oftentimes that's how you serve your clients effectively so they repeat and refer you ultimately.
Mhm.
And so to us, a lot of times people think of marketing as just like this awareness piece, but it's not necessarily getting in front of more and more and more and more people all the time. It's getting in front of the right people and taking care of them effectively. So then
Retaining the customer.
yeah, so they're in your world, you can nurture them. They're either going to buy more or they're going to refer ultimately. So your world's growing in that sense. And so we map all of that out for the businesses as part of strategy. And then from there, we say, okay, based on this, like, what does your execution calendar look like? And what are your biggest priorities for the next quarter? And so strategy to us is initial research, but it's also taking that research and putting it into an execution plan so you have a clear path to follow ultimately moving forward. And when we do our planning, as I mentioned, it's always quarterly chunks. And so we map out here's the next quarter priorities because then you have to pay attention to the metrics. You got to pay attention to what's working, what's not working. You got to lay some of the foundation often, and then you can continue to evolve your marketing after that initial quarter. And so that's typically how we approach really the full strategic
Actually, that,
package.
sorry. Yes,
No,
actually, just kind of answered one of my questions I was about to ask. Yes, so because I'm thinking now also, as small company or like even like a founders, when some time is tricky, like you are so focused in building this company that you're putting together, right? But in your head you have this idea of like, hey, I'm building this thing, is going to be for customer, right? But really, then have this ever happened to you guys, like you get a small company, they come to you and then you ask them what's your ideal customer, and they go like, I don't know.
yeah, too often. Or they'll say,
Mhm. Mhm.
females aged 18 to 40. And I'm like, okay, but what else?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you need to expand on that more. It's probably
yeah,
not every female aged 18 to 40 or whatever it might be.
yeah.
You have to Yes. So
So is
understanding
it more
your
like a
audience.
number? They just throw it like female 18 to 45 or whatever. Is it like they did not do any research to know exactly, or maybe like from there, like what do you do with that information? Do you end up sending them back with the homework, or do you take that small information and then kind of expand with the research or whatever need to be done?
So if they're an existing business with existing clients,
Mhm.
then often we will say, okay, send us 10 of your best clients, do an email introduction between us and your best clients, and we will interview them. So we will learn this information for you. I think actually sitting down and talking to your best clients is honestly the best thing you can do to learn the persona type of information about them, but also the messaging that you might use as well. And so that's usually the first step. If you have email list, you can also send out a survey, but we've found that like actually having the conversations and asking things like, "Oh, tell me more," when they might say, "Oh, you provide good service." It's like, can you explain a time we provided good service and what did it look like? And so the interviews are very powerful. And I recommend, all clients, it's like we'll do that initially in strategy work, but on a consistent basis moving forward, you should continue to interview your clients and understand like why did they choose you, what drives them to stay with you, like why do they think you're different from the competition, but also things like where do they find their information online, like what would
Yeah.
they type into Google to search for you. So the interviews are really multi-purpose, the persona development and the core message as well.
Okay. Okay. If someone joined in like in the middle of this conversation, I'm talking to Sarah, without the H, just Sara
I
Nay.
know.
Sara Nay, a chief operating officer for Duct Tape Marketing. So when they in my head is going all over the place. So they come, they do that, and you create this strategy, and then you're talking to them, or a strategy for every quarter, right?
Hmm.
So this is ongoing thing. It's not like a one time you be like, okay, you guys do this, and then kind of, so it's ongoing thing. But when you I want to go back to the thing when you say you want to like a small business introduced to their 10 core customer, maybe good customer, and then kind of do the interview, kind of get to learn things. So there are people like me who I love to buy stuff, right? Like I will love a brand, right? And I will buy stuff. But as soon you send me a survey or whatever, I'm like, stop bothering me. So how do you deal? Oh, like what is the strategy there to reach out to customer without making them feel like they are being bothered by so many marketing or whatever? Even the survey itself, I have seen like I'm like, you know what? I'll do the survey, and I'm like I'm clicking. I feel like next, click next,
Next,
and
yeah.
then next, next. I'm like, then I just close the whole window. Like, what is a sweet spot for even communicating with this customer without annoying them, and also maybe, yeah, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to kind of
Yeah.
go.
No,
Yeah.
I get it. I agree. There's a lot of people reaching out to everyone these days and just marketing and surveys and reviews and all of that stuff always in your inbox. And so I think there's a couple ways to stand out. I do think these interviews feel more personal. So like I don't want you just to complete a survey. Like I actually want to talk to you. I want to understand you. I want to understand what your goals are so then we can continue to develop products or services to help you reach your goals. And so I think if you position the interviews that way to your clients, then they feel like they're being listened to, they're being heard, that you value their opinion, and you should because they're your best clients. And
Yeah.
so I think that is a way to stand out, because not as many people are asking for phone conversations, depending on the industry, for their clients, where surveys are more common. On the survey piece, there's a couple things you can do. You can do some incentive, some competition, some prize if people fill out the surveys. I think that definitely increases submissions. But also, I think with the surveys is keep it as simple as possible, as you were just mentioning. Like I've started things before in the past too with like a brand I just love, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I really love this brand, I'll help them out. But then if it takes me more than I don't know how many clicks, I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
gotta get back to work. I'm done.
Yeah.
So keep it as simple as possible, and only get the information that you absolutely need. So it only takes people a couple minutes to get through it ultimately.
Okay. Okay. So with this, I know you kind of mentioned for like, do you also deal with companies that they are really startup, not just a small business, but like a really startup that they say, hey, we have a product, or we have, like you say, you deal with all kind of different business, right? It can be either online brand, or maybe like a brick and mortar, maybe like something like that, or a software company. So they come to you. I give you an example. I say, hey, my software is complete, and now we are ready to go to the market.
Yeah.
So now I come to you. So have you dealt with a company like that? Or what is the process there for a company with no customer at all? They're just about to launch their service.
Yeah. So we traditionally do work with companies that have at least been established for a couple of years. They have clients, they're working with people. That's where our strategic approach can make the most impact versus someone in true startup mode. But if you're listening and you're in true startup mode, you can
Yeah.
still go through the interview process that we were just talking about. Obviously, you don't have clients at this point, but maybe you conduct interviews to people that would be your ideal target market, even early on while you're still building a product, just to understand like what price point would they pay, what do they want to see in the product, like what features would be cool, like, so just understanding them early on, because then you're probably getting their interest, but also you're learning from the ideal target market versus just building something you think
Yeah.
would be a good fit. And so you can still rely on the interviews piece, but target people that just would be great fits or would be ideal clients for you in the future when you're ready.
Okay. I thought you were about to say like, oh, we don't deal with like startup who have no. And I was about to say, you know what? That's why I don't like your psychology degree. No, that's good. That's awesome. So let's talk about the onboarding for the company when they come in. What's the requirement for the company that say, hey, I want to work with Duct Tape Marketing firm, right?
Yeah.
And what do you ask from the company? What do you need from the company in order for you guys to help them?
So first, to go through our process, like I run our sales, and so we would have a discovery call. We get to know them more. We get to know things like what have they tried from a marketing perspective in the past? Where are their goals? What are their growth goals? Like what does 3 years look like from now? What's their team structure? What are their problems? So we try to learn as much as we can. We're very much on like we'll consult as we are selling side of things. So that's step one. And then if we decide to move forward with a client, we always start with a strategy package. And to kick off the strategy package, which is what I was talking through earlier, we then do a whole intake form where they're filling out a form to give us information like their top 3 competitors, the clients they want us to interview, just all the information we need to essentially to then go out and do our research to develop the strategy for them.
Do you have a requirement of like how much money they should have? Like say like, hey, you have to have a budget of at least for 6 months, for 3 months, for 1 year, in order for you to afford Duct Tape Marketing.
The
How do
the
you?
way we approach it is, our strategy package is a set price, and so obviously it has to make sense for you to afford that initial package.
Mhm,
But then we're not locking anyone into long-term retainers.
mhm,
From there, it's like, let's do the strategy, let's create the plan, let's experience working together, let's see if it's a good fit. And then from there, we will transition into getting the work done. And either that means maybe we did strategy for an organization and they have a marketing person on staff. And so we'll stay on and we'll just coach that person and help them continue to level up and hold them accountable while they implement the plan. Or we implement the plan for a lot of the businesses we work with. And so, it just kind of depends on their scenario, their setup, how they want to engage us longer term.
mhm.
Or maybe we create the strategy and they're like, this is great. Now our marketing team can run with it. You taught us a lot, part
Yeah,
ways.
yeah,
So, there's not like a specific budget, but as part of the sales process, we'll talk through like, this is our strategy first package. This is how much it costs. And then if we're going to implement for you, our typical retainers are in this price range, depending on what we uncover in strategy. And so we definitely have the conversation from day one.
mhm.
So they have the expectations in place. But we don't have any, like, you have to be have this much set aside.
Yeah,
It's more of like, let's learn about each other. Let's educate each other and see if it makes sense financially for everyone involved.
yeah. Like let's withdraw your 401k, your
Yeah. Yeah.
college fund. So, and another thing I was thinking, so I have dealt with like marketing company before, like long time. I used to own a limousine company, and they used to have this thing. It's like, I think, was it called local or whatever it was, like where like the company, you pay them, you say, hey, I want to spend $5,000 a month,
Hmm.
and they create like a mirror. It's almost like a mirror landing page, but this mirror landing page, you collect information for customer, but really is not inside your website. So it's more like it's landing on their thing, and then you have to click, then you bring it to the customer's website. And from that, when you guys, when Duct Tape Marketing, let's say you marketing a small business, a software company, like where they're sending traffic to their website, right? When you're doing this, are you, because there's a little bit right now, there's this thing always, like now people, they think they can do their own, either pay per click, like on almost all platform, like right from Google, from LinkedIn,
Yeah.
from YouTube, whatever, not YouTube yet, Facebook, whatever. What exactly is the different there from someone to just be like, I can do this myself, and or in terms of getting duct tape, and if duct tape is doing, does duct tape just get the retainer plus the marketing money, or is this like, hey, just give us this whole much, maybe 10,000 a month, and then we'll get our fee from there? Those are like two
Yeah.
questions. So
Yeah. No, it's good. So your first point on like people figuring it out and learning themselves, I think there is a lot that goes into marketing. It's always changing. It's a full-time job if you're trying to grow and scale your business. And so I think if you have a person in place that has marketing background or experience or is eager to learn, you absolutely can
Mhm.
learn it. But I think the value in hiring someone like us or a different marketing consulting company is, we'll come in and we'll determine what the strategic direction should be, and then we handle 100% of your marketing in most cases moving forward. So we're making sure all of your marketing is talking together. And so that's where I see a lot of small businesses not get into trouble but waste money on marketing. Is they're paying one company for ads and one company for SEO and one company for social media, and none of it talks together. And so that's where you end up just throwing money and hoping stuff sticks without having more of a comprehensive plan, essentially.
Mhm.
And so, if you're going to get into paid ads, and you're going to learn it yourself, that's fine. But then make sure you have, okay, once you create the ads, you put the copy in place, you design it all, like where are you directing traffic, what's the call to action you're going to have,
Yeah,
what encouragement or incentive are you going to do for them to actually take action. Once
yeah,
they take action, let's say they sign up for a email opt-in of some sort, how are you going to nurture them, what's your try offer, like, so you can't just do paid advertising, you have to do paid advertising with the essential follow-up campaign that would happen after the awareness stage is built. And so I don't know if that specifically answered your question, but I
yes,
think
yes.
thinking big picture, if you're doing
Mhm.
it by yourself or if you're hiring someone, is where you're going to make most of an impact versus just trying to learn tactics and trying to get results from them.
Okay. And so maybe my experience does, which is perfect. Actually, what you just explained is really good, because instead of trying to just kind of randomly trying to, because each platform is a little bit different anyway. If you're advertising on LinkedIn, they have a different way of setting up. You can set up some not keywords, but more like how many impression or how many clicks, whatever, and then eat too much money in one platform or whatever. So it's like it's better to have like a marketing firm that's what they do. They are dedicated, and that's what they do, instead of you trying to learn in the 1 week or whatever. So they have the years of experience. That's what I would suggest. But
Yeah, absolutely.
mhm,
And I think just making sure though that you own everything in terms of
yeah,
working with a marketing company. And so make sure if you're doing Google Ads, for example, like you're setting up the Google Ads account as the business, and then you're giving the marketing company access to optimize and run the campaigns. And then they're directing traffic to the website that you own the domain to and hosting to. And so then, you will have full control, because then if they leave, you part ways, like these are your assets as a business that you should own and should continue to have access
do
to.
you
So I
see
run
it?
in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
sorry.
actually, that's what I was going with this too. This is perfect, because you're giving them access to your own account, the ad account, like on, let's say, Google. So they come in, they do what they need to do, but if they leave, you just remove the access. But you're left with all these assets, which is perfect. That's when it goes back to the second question. So actually, that almost kind of answers. So that means you only get like a retainer fees instead of you say, hey, spend 10,000 a month on advertising, on marketing, and then we're just gonna take some fee from that 10,000 from your marketing budget. So you taking like a separate fee from the marketing budget, right?
Yeah, so our retainer fees typically include whatever we're doing to implement. So it might be website work, it might be content production, social media, SEO, direct mailers, like whatever we're implementing, it's basically covered in our retainer fees along with ad management.
Mhm.
But if they're spending for ads, then that's above and beyond that they're paying Google or whoever, Facebook or whoever directly for, and we're just running the campaigns on their behalf, essentially.
Oh, okay. So those are two things. Those okay, I'm going ahead of myself. So but this answer. So you offer two options. So they have their own ad account, they give you access, you implement, they pay you whatever thing to manage it, to kind of whatever they need to run, or they can just say, hey, I have $100,000 a month marketing budget. You created a strategy for me. That's it. And then you guys, from there, that's when you take your fee. But that's what I'm trying to figure. How much would that be, the fee? Would that be like a percentage of the fee? I don't know if maybe we're revealing too much information here.
No, it's okay. No, for our strategy package is 7,500 to go through that package, regardless of your budget and your marketing spend, and that helps us create the plan over like a 30 to 60-day period. And so in your option two there, when you mentioned just creating the strategy for a $100,000 budget or whatever it might be, you would pay Duct Tape 7,500 to basically create the strategy and plan, and then that would help us guide you on terms of like how you should allocate the rest of the budget moving forward. And so that's essentially our pricing. And then when we get to the retainer part of it, that's when, the number varies for our retainer price point because it depends on what we're doing for the business we're working with and also their budget and their growth goals and all of those things. And so if we're working with a small local business that just kind of needs to maintain, the retainer fee is going to be smaller than if we're
Yeah,
working with like a national
brand.
B2B business that's like trying to hyper growth, scenario. So then they got to invest more in order to grow faster to a larger audience. So I can't, our retainer fees, it's not like it's going to be X amount. It's more of let's do strategy, let's figure out
Yeah.
the plan, and then I can price a retainer from there.
Okay. Can a mom and pop store be also a company like you be able to deal with, or is it they're like too small? Or unless maybe do they have to have like maybe in my head I'm thinking like someone who has a mom and pop store, right? Location like on Main Street somewhere, and they want to use Duct Tape Marketing firm. Like, do you look at them like, hey, what is your goal? Like, are you trying to expand to other area, or you just trying to bring traffic in your small store? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure. Like, do you end up dealing with them, or do you tell them like, hey, this is a wrong business for us to help you because what we're gonna try to do is too big for what you have?
Yeah. I think, yeah, no, I mean, it really depends on what the individual business's goals would be, honestly. And, a full strategic engagement that we offer might be too comprehensive for a mom and pop that's, happy and just kind of moving along and not looking to expand and all of those things.
Mhm.
For someone like that, we offer coaching programs that are less expensive where we teach them marketing strategy and they go out and implement it themselves.
Mhm.
And so that's a way for us to be able to serve some people with smaller budgets that maybe don't need us doing all of the research and plan.
Yeah.
But we also, I mean, we produce a lot of free content, honestly, between the Duct Tape Marketing podcast, our blog. We have several guides on our website that's like guide to local business. If you spent time going through that, you could probably learn a lot. And so, maybe if a whole strategic package isn't necessarily the level you're at, I would dive into all of our free content and see how far along you can get through that. And then, maybe coaching or something would make sense in the future.
Okay. So last question before we go. Um, in terms of like when you're helping a company in the marketing and because like with technology, let's say it's a software company. With this, because you're out there also getting all this information from clients, are you able also to generate almost like a market research to kind of warn the company, be like, hey, things are changing. You need to pivot. You need to change your business strategy. You need to change your software. Like there are some company that I used to love, like a company like BlackBerry, right? BlackBerry, which I used to love. I worked for that
Yeah.
company too. Used to love with my pager or the BlackBerries. Yeah, so just to tell you how old I am. You're like, what? You're like, what is a pager? If you ask John, he knows. Your father knows. So I'm thinking like Toys R Us, mall, even the mall. Do you
Yeah.
end up kind of generating also like maybe a market research instead of just saying like, okay, we're marketing for you to the public because we're targeting these ideal customers, but those ideal customers end up start getting introduced by new things, then maybe start abandoning uh, this product or these services. How do you understand what I'm trying to go with this? Like, how do you
Yeah.
end up kind of either warning or giving a study, a market research to this company that you're helping in the marketing? Like, hey, you need to pay attention. There's a new player in the market and they are offering something way better than what you're doing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We, as part of strategy, one of the elements of it is competitive research. And so we dive into what are your top competitors, what are they doing? And there's a few purposes on that. It's to, as you said, maybe people are doing things differently and are positioning themselves differently or offering different services, and that might be worth you paying attention to. But it also helps you then understand their messaging and how you can set yourself apart from them as well.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the first pieces of strategy is understanding the competition, understanding the market, understanding how other people are positioning what they're selling. And then from there, after you do that initially, I highly recommend, on a yearly basis at least, not if not quarterly, looking at the competition continuously and paying close attention, understanding what they're doing, understanding how they're positioning themselves, all of that. And so we don't do, your traditional like market research trends coming as part of our engagement. But we absolutely do pay attention to competition and how you can stand out.
Sarah, there's so much, like, there's a lot of value here. And thank you so much. I really want to thank you for taking the time to chat with me and just
Yeah.
kind of introduce this dark marketing. And if for anyone looking for marketing genius, we have Sarah here. Waiting a few years, we're gonna talk now. You'll be like, hey, Sarah was the chief operating officer. I'll be like, no, Sarah is the CEO. I'm
I
rooting
love it.
for you. I'm rooting for you.
Thanks for rooting for me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I appreciate you having me on the show. It was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate. And let's do this. If people want to find you, how can people find you, or kind of just is it maybe also the company too? Yeah.
Yeah, so Duct Tape Marketing is our core website. So it's DuctTape marketing, three words there. And then just on LinkedIn, my name is Sara Nay, Nay is the last name.
Mhm. Perfect. Thank you so much, Sarah, and I really appreciate this. All right.
Thank you.